The Dallas Stars surrender a 3-goal lead, and Colorado takes game one by a final score of 4-3 in overtime. My thoughts and reactions next on Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars drop game one to the Colorado Avalanche by a final score of 4-3 in overtime. Miles Wood with the game-winning goal for the Avs, and the Stars once again will have to play this series starting from behind. It was an unfortunate one in a multitude of ways for the Stars, which we'll dive into on today's episode of Locked On Stars. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. It was a funky game one. The Stars got out to a 3-0 lead in the first period. They really took it to Colorado. It felt like Colorado hadn't played a game in 6 or 7 days, and it felt like Dallas was coming off a Game 7 victory and was just kind of feeding off that momentum. But after that, the Stars really lacked a lot of juice, and it felt like a game one. There just wasn't a lot of energy, wasn't a lot of juice, at least on the Dallas side of things. They took their foot off the gas, and Colorado does what they do best. A 3-goal lead is not safe, especially after 20 minutes against Colorado. They did it to the Stars multiple times during the regular season, and they do it here again tonight. And they end up taking game one. And unfortunately, you play a very good overtime period outside of the first. It was the best stretch of hockey the Stars had really played on the night. And the one chance they give up, it finds the back of the net. And sometimes that's just how hockey goes. A nice move by Miles Wood. It looked like Miro had a good angle on him. You can't let Wood pull the puck across the crease on Ottinger there, and it goes off the post and in, and Colorado steals game one at the American Airlines Center, and it makes game two very, very important. I mean, Dallas looked like they played a game 7 as it kind of wore on a couple of nights ago. They seem to lack some urgency or at least energy in their game offensively. They were defending a ton in the second period, and Colorado really took it to them. They got a couple of power plays, which of course end up in the back of your net, and they're right back in the contest. Stars got outshot 11-3 in the second period, and then they only mustered up 4 shots in the third period, even though they played better as the game wore on, or at least played better in that final 10 minutes of the third period, I should say. They missed a lot. They missed the net a lot in the game. They had a couple of really good looks, and they just fired it wide so many times on some really good chances. Roope late in the third, in the final minute, ripped it off the glass. I know the puck was on in there. Benn missed a net in overtime. Stankoven did too. They needed to test Georgiev a bit more, even though they had some of the better looks in overtime. I mean, Seguin had 3 chances himself, and Georgiev was great down the stretch. But you look at the chances at 5-on-5, Colorado outchanced the Stars 25-12 at 5-on-5, and then in all situations, Colorado outchanced Dallas 29-6. The Stars just could not muster anything up outside of the first period. And they seemed like they were content with the lead. And I mean, everybody said it. This game is far from over. My thing is, you have to win. You have to win a game like that when you're up 3-0. I don't care who it is. You have to close out games like that. You have to figure out a way to take down a very, very good team when you spot yourself a 3-goal lead. And yes, they got some power plays, but you had 4 yourself, and you were only able to score on one of them, which was a 2-man advantage. If you score one more, then maybe you're not talking about overtime. They did a lot right in that first period that they just really couldn't sustain. Even when Colorado had a lot of offensive zone time, they weren't getting very many high danger chances. Stars kept them to the outside for the most part. And then as the second period came along, Colorado kind of flipped the script. They started dictating play. Stars were getting chasing. It didn't help that you took a penalty 200 feet away from your own net on Craig Smith, but I understand he's trying to be aggressive. And the refs were just weird all night. But you have to be able to get one more against the best offense in the NHL. We knew that coming in, and we knew that was going to be a tough game to figure out a way to finish them off, even after being up 3-0 in the first period. And you didn't get enough from, frankly, anybody. DeBoer had to change up the lines at the beginning of the third period just to try to conjure up something, and you didn't get much at all. And the overtime period was fine. They played really well. And it feels like it feels like the Stars can not win a game, at least recently in the postseason, where they just don't have their A game. Going into OT, you're thinking, man, it would just be great to figure out a way to win this one, even if you don't deserve it. It just feels like they haven't got any of those where, maybe they don't play their best, but they just still squeak out a win, because Colorado, frankly, deserved to win the game. I thought they were a much better team, much more energy for large stretches. And Dallas was just kind of hanging around and just kind of walking, just trying to walk to the finish line, it felt like, especially in that second period. And Colorado, they buried their chances, and no surprise, they get the early equalizer in the third from McKinnon. And then you got to find a way to execute in overtime too. You had looks. You just have to bury it. But credit to Georgiev, he was great in the overtime period. I will say Pavelski looked better in the game. I thought Hintz skated a lot better. He just looked better. And look, he didn't really have an impact on the game by any means, but I think that's something to at least take note of as we move along in the series. I thought he just looked better, but still not generating enough. I'm not going to give him a pass there. He didn't generate enough. And really all 4 lines just seem to not be able to generate up a lot of high quality chances. If you look at the scoring chances per line, the highest was 3, and that was Benn, Stankoven, and Duchene, and that was one of the lines that they threw together in the third period. They didn't have their legs, I don't think, and it's a tough turnaround off an emotional Game 7, of course, but when you spot yourself a 3-goal lead, there's no excuses after that. I'm sorry. And you knew Colorado was going to get better as the game wore on. They needed 20 minutes to kind of, size up Dallas and understand the type of, I guess, series that we may get here in the next couple of weeks, but not an overly physical series. It looked like both teams were kind of content with just playing run and gun. And Colorado, they got to their game because Dallas took away that neutral zone in the first period. And then you saw Colorado being able to carry in and make creative plays off of that. And I thought Dallas defended okay. They defended decently, but it was just so many opportunities left and right for Colorado that the Stars just weren't going to be able to sustain that because there's too many too many good players for Colorado that stepped up. I mean, they get their goals from, they're big guys besides the OT winner. I mean, McKinnon, Makar, and Nichushkin. That's like a big three. I mean, that's their big three. And Makar has a couple of points. Rantanen picks up a couple of helpers. And there you go. Makar, a 3-point night. The better players for Colorado were better than the Stars in the game. And Johnston scored early, but that's kind of what game one comes down to. Unfortunately, your PK is just unable to keep Colorado out of the back of the net because, well, they're just really good too. I mean, there's a lot of options they have, and there were some unfortunate bounces as well, but you got to stay out of the box. You can't help them out. You knew they were going to get some calls because Dallas already had a ton of power plays, so you knew the Stripes were going to give them some looks, and then you have to find a way to buckle down and kill off at least one. Of course, you would like to have two, but it's a lot to ask with the deployment of guys they have at their disposal. So it's a tough game one. It's another tough one to swallow. You frankly didn't play good enough to win, but you're hoping you just get a bounce here. You finish it off, and maybe you didn't play your best, but hey, you have a 1-0 series lead heading into game two, and now it makes game two very, very important. I don't think they have it up in them. I don't think they have it in them to go down 2-0 in this series. You did it against Vegas. It won't be impossible, but look, you don't want to live that way heading to Colorado in game three. So, I mean, game two is monumental, just with the amount of hockey that they've already played, and it's just going to wear and tear on them as the game goes along. So yeah, game two will be important. But Dallas just let their foot off the gas. They really did. They let up and allowed Colorado to get back in the game. And we'll kind of segue the conversation into that here in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is obsessed with finding you ways to save money on tickets. And Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. The Dallas Mavericks, of course, are in the second round of their playoffs. Unfortunately, they dropped game one in their series against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but they'll be back for game 3 and 4 in DFW. So go ahead and get last minute deals, all in prices. You get the views from your seat and a lowest price guarantee when you use Game Time. It takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets to a Mavs game, even a Stars game for Game 2, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it, they have it. It takes all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. They will also credit you 110% of the difference if you find seats in the same section and row for less. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today's episode is also brought to you by Indeed. There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed, and it's the hiring platform you need to build your team. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is a hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that find you matched candidates. That's the great thing about Indeed. It doesn't waste your time. It gives you candidates with the same resumes that you're looking for and the same skill set. Indeed does the hard work for you. It's a hiring platform, matches you with quality candidates instantly. So go ahead and join the 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. So really what this game comes down to for Dallas is they just weren't able to keep the pressure on Colorado in the second and third period. And the Avs with that potent offense are able to muster up enough with the help of special teams, and they force it to overtime, and they get their look, and they end up burying it with Miles Wood. Dallas just, as I alluded to in the first segment, just not a lot of juice. It just seems like sort of going through the motions, and that's not the most accurate way to describe it, but oh yeah, like we got a 3-goal lead, like we can sit on it. It felt like they were very content with just, we're going to sit on it, and basically walk it to the end of regulation. But that just unfortunately was not going to be the case. I thought Colorado was better in terms of puck possession, and the numbers bear that out. If you look at the Corsi percentage at 5-on-5, Colorado in the first period 53%, 76% in the second, and 58% in the third period. Dallas just could not generate any sort of real offensive looks on Georgiev in the final two periods. And you can't win hockey games like that at this point in time. And now you have to look at Roope Hintz, and you have to look to guys like Joe Pavelski, Duchene, and Seguin as well. They just need more out of those guys. They can't go completely quiet for an entire series if you want to be able to move on. And Roope looked better, but it's nowhere near where they need him to be if they want to get through this series, because Colorado right now is just rolling, frankly, and they're not dealing with a ton of injuries, and all their best players are incredible right now. I mean, McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, 9 points in the first round against Winnipeg, and then of course they have huge impacts here in game one. And I don't want to overshadow a lot of the positives the Stars made in the game, but they just didn't have the juice. And look, I think a lot of that has to do because of the grueling series they just played against Vegas, but they have to find a way to grind it out now. Fortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be an overwhelmingly physical series, but you can tell too that Colorado is going to take advantage of a Stars team that is playing 5 defensemen. You gave yourself a 3-goal lead, and it was like, okay, maybe you can sneak in Lundqvist a lot more, get him some more playing time, give some guys some rest, but that just wasn't the case. Miro ended up playing over, 20? He just played over 25 minutes. Lundell actually played the most. He neared 27 minutes in the game, and you can see that the amount of pressure and offensive zone time Colorado had, they had the Stars hemmed in for long stretches. Even if it didn't generate into a ton, that is a lot of hard, mentally exhausting defending that the Stars have to do, and that's going to wear on you through a series. I don't know if they can get through a team playing five defensemen this heavily. They have to find someone that can give them some minutes, and maybe that is Nils Lundqvist. You got to maybe play him 8 to 10, and I'm not advocating for him to play that much based off what we've seen out of him, but you got to find someone that can take up some minutes and at least just take some load off of Tanev and Lindell and Miro that are they're playing a ton. And unfortunately, as this series rolls along, you don't want it to get to game 6 and they just look exhausted. And I think some of that crept in. Even though they were probably running on adrenaline in that overtime period, the crowd finally got into it. It would have helped if the crowd was into it. And I'm not knocking the crowd. This was the Stars' fault. They gave them nothing to be excited about for 25 to 28 minutes in the middle of that hockey game. If they were able to kind of generate something, could have got the crowd behind them and spurred them on a bit more, which the AAC was rocking in overtime without, chance after chance was, okay, here we go. Now they kind of woke up, but they just fell asleep in that middle frame. And that's when Colorado took advantage, and then they get the early equalizer in the third. And that's all she wrote in overtime, even though the Stars ended up outchancing the Avs in that overtime period. What was it? Just 3-2. So nothing crazy, but they had some glorious looks that you would have loved to bury. But yeah, the Stars didn't grade out particularly well. Suter was actually Benn was graded out the highest, a 2.03 game score. He had a goal and assist in the game. I thought he was fine, but yeah, there was much to be desired from a lot of the forwards, and Johnston's just going to keep doing his thing, but they need Roope so bad. They need him, and I'm going to continually bring it up until it changes. He skated better. I thought he just looked better, but still nothing. And they got to hit the net too. I thought they didn't test Georgiev enough down the stretch. Georgiev did not have a very tough night. Look, a combined in the final 60 minutes, so the second, third, and OT, 13 shots. Like 13 shots, come on. With this depth that you're able to flex, you have to be able to do better than that. Just like, Colorado had 5 in the first. Like, that wasn't going to be good enough. And then they come out and they put 11 on in the second period. So series is far from over. Okay, not trying to be such a Debbie Downer here. I think Dallas matches up well. I think they'll be fine. It's going to be tough coming off an emotional game 7, but you can just you throw that excuse out of it. Like, you spotted yourself a 3-goal lead. You have to win those games. Colorado can't score 4 on you. I don't care that they're a great offense. I don't care. You have to win those games. That's the frustrating part. It shouldn't even be an OT. Should not even be an OT. Like, and Colorado's good offense, right? But that's the real infuriating part. You're up 3-0. Just close it out. And I know 40 minutes of hockey is a lot, but at this time of year and what we saw from Dallas in round 1, look, I don't think it's too much to ask that you can close out a game with a 3-goal lead. It was weird because I don't think anybody had a 3-goal lead in that Vegas series. So it felt like a game 1, as I'd put it. It felt like a game 1, a feeling out process for both. And yeah, Dallas has to respond. You have to respond. I don't think they pull themselves out of a 2-0 hole. Again, you're asking yourself to do a lot. Let's talk about what we know here in this series as we kind of move on into game 2, what we know from both sides, and maybe some adjustments that Pete DeBoer and company have to make to get them back to level in this series. And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. All right, game off. We got to pause here and talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. You've talked about it so much already this week, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. Go ahead and take out your smartphone. Go ahead and download Monopoly Go. It's free on the App Store or Google Play Store. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more prizes you unlock. And there's just so much to get. Unique stickers you can trade for and try to complete albums with your friends. There's cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends. You can smash their buildings. And the most fun part is heist their vaults and steal their fortune. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day. There's always new mini games, changing tournaments, and challenges. There's always new time tournaments that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and download it free. It's on the Google Play and App Store. Go ahead, go to the App Store or Google Play Store. It is 30 seconds to download. Download it now and game on. So, what we know after game one between the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche. On the Stars side of things, Dallas can play a lot better. That wasn't the best version of the Dallas Stars. What we also know is your core, Roope Hintz, Matt Duchene, and Tyler Seguin and Joe Pavelski are not giving you enough to win this series. And we've known that coming out of the Vegas series, but they have to have an impact. Those are the veterans for the Stars that have to come through. It can't just be Wyatt Johnston. It can't just be him, because I'm seeing a lot of 53, and he's fantastic. He's awesome to watch. Oh, he's a lot of fun. I love him to death. And I can talk about 53 all day long. I can do Locked On Wyatt Johnston if we want to, but look, at some point the tide has to change. It has to change. Someone has to start having an impact, because it's just this isn't sustainable. This isn't sustainable. Especially in this round. You got through it because of the wonderful play of a few guys up front against Vegas, and their fourth line came through huge. And I thought the fourth line probably was your best line, I thought, for some moments in the game. One of your better lines. You just didn't get a lot out of anybody in game one, besides that first period, and they were all over them. It was controlled, and it was great. But we all know you don't win hockey games playing 20 minutes. You have to play a full 60 and then some. So that's what we know. Also, we know Colorado can score at will. Can they limit chances of McKinnon and company? Can they stay out of the box? Can they be disciplined enough? And I don't think the refs were great into that. But look, I'm not going to sit here and dissect every call they made, because it was just crap in general. And the Stars benefited more than Colorado did, and they didn't pull through enough. You get 2 or 3 goals on the power play, it's lights out, but you don't capitalize. Colorado strikes twice. PK's been very, very underwhelming so far this postseason. Need to get a bit more out of that side of the department. We know Colorado. I mean, the big five: Rantanen, McKinnon, McCarr. They're just going to be there. They're going to be there night in and night out. I don't know if Dallas can necessarily slow them down enough in this series. So they're really going to have to bear down against the bottom 6 for Colorado, because they're going to get their looks. And if they get a lot of them, they're going to bury most of them. And I felt like the better players in game one for Colorado were better than Dallas. Look at Nichushkin, 4.22. McCarr grades out 4.10. McKinnon and Rantanen. There's your top 4, top 5 there, with Devon Tays at the top. Those were the best players on the ice. And Ryan Suter and Benn are your highest. And Benn played great, but Suter should not be up there. Let's be honest. And I thought Suter played an excellent game. So they have a lot of work to do. That's for sure. I don't know how sustainable this 5D deployment is going to be. And look, I'm not saying they don't really have a chance or a choice to a lot of degree because Lundqvist just frankly isn't up for the task. So unfortunately, I don't know if they really have a choice, but you're going to kind of live and die by that sword. It feels like Dallas is going to play better though. I mean, they can play a lot better. And that's what you just have to lean on. Okay. That's what we're going to lean on moving forward is Dallas is going to play a lot better. And I think Colorado can play better too. It just feels like it's going to be a back and forth series. We're probably going to get a lot of lead changes just because it seems like it's going to be a lot more open and free flowing than we saw against Vegas. So you look at the quality scoring chances here from star skaters, Benn, Seguin, and Stankoven with 4, Heiskanen and Johnston with 3, and then to 1. You get Pavelski, Robertson, Harley, and Hintz all combined for 4 scoring chances alone. Like that is not going to be good enough to beat Colorado. And credit to the Avs, man. They didn't falter. They just stuck with their game, and they crawled their way back in, and they steal game 1. But I thought they were a better team. I thought they were the better team in game 1. So we move on to game 2, and that'll be a big one, man. Dallas, just these opening games in these series in the last 2 postseasons have been just kind of meh. Leaves a lot of bitter tastes in your mouth. But hey, you level up the series, you go to Colorado, and you go to work. You go to work from there. But as I mentioned, I don't think they can crawl out of a 2-0 hole again. It doesn't feel like that's going to be sustainable, especially here in round 2. But that'll wrap up a game 1 reaction episode here on Locked On Stars. Confidence meter, I'm still like a 92%. Felt really good about the Stars. I feel really good about them in general, which is weird. I don't feel that way a ton, especially this time of year before. But they'll be fine, as I'll say. They'll be fine. So this game 2, we may go to panic mode again, like we did against the Golden Knights. So that may happen. But alrighty, that's going to wrap up today's episode. It's late again. It's time to go to bed. So I hope everybody has a wonderful Wednesday. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the day. For any of you listening this morning, have a great day. And DFW Sports need to get back on track on Thursday. Was not a great night for DFW. So we'll get back to it here on Thursday. Well, that'll do it. Have a great rest of your day. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow Locked On Stars on Twitter, follow Joey the Jet 19 on Twitter as well. We'll be back. We'll preview some game 2, and hopefully the Stars can level up the series at 1 on Thursday night. So long, everybody.